Hello, welcome to my Trading to Retire 1 month challenge results. So, this is going to be a recap and share of results that I achieved in this 1 month. As a reminder, this Trading to Retire challenge was to see if I could earn enough trading in 1 month that it would lead me to believe I could retire from my corporate career. So, let's jump right in. I'm going to start with a thought, like I've done every other video this month, which is my future is bright. And I'm so glad that that was my thought leading into the conclusion of this month because it helps put everything in perspective. For me, and I mentioned before, I think thoughts lead to actions and actions lead to results. And so, what were my last actions? So, since the last video, this was the one other trade, and really it was just a closing out of a trade that I already had open. And then on the last 2 days, well, Monday and Tuesday, I found out Monday that my mom was in the hospital. So I didn't trade Monday or Tuesday. I just got on a plane and went to be where she is. So um, for the end of the month, I ended the same as I was last week or the prior week, which was $19,171.17. And I added a few other columns here, which is my average trade. Then, based on the number of trades that I took, would be $467.59 that I earned. Obviously, some trades were, it's an average. So some trades were a lot more and some were negative, right? Like I lost money on some trades, as you've seen in the previous videos. And my daily average, so there were 22 days in the month, 22 trading days. And that's a daily average of $871 a day, which would be a yearly average of $209,000 if I were able to repeat this every trading day for the year. Well, I think I used 240 trading days. So there's technically more than that, but I'm thinking 20 days on average per month. So 240 trading days a year. So $209,000, that would be the projection if I were to be able to be as successful as I was this month. Well, what did that lead to in reality? So I'm answering some questions that were asked and giving you a little bit more information about how I was able to achieve what I did. I was using a brokerage account that had 50K cash in it, and my average trades cost about $3 to $4,000 to make the trade, and I would say most of the time I had somewhere between 2 to 4 trades that were being used simultaneously. So um, if I had, two trades on and each of them were costing me about 4K in cash to put on the trade, that means I was using 8 of the 50K, 8,000 of the 50,000 in cash for those. But sometimes I had four, and so um, at no point did I have all 50K being used for trades. So, um, I learned a lesson there. I need to get better about, which brokerage accounts I'm using. I need to do more research because I have several brokerage accounts, and the one that has the 50K in it was majority of the trades that I took. I think there were a couple that were done out of another brokerage account, but still the 50K is what the cash that I had to available to use, and a 38% return on the 50K was the $17,000 that I earned that I talked about in the previous slide. But if I'd only used 20K, then it would have been a 95% return, but that would have been foolish to have all of my available cash um, in a trade, right? For several reasons. One being that if I saw another trade, that a good setup entry point, then I wouldn't have been able to take it. And two, I would be risking the entire account. So, as you saw, not every trade wins. You don't make profit on every trade. Some trades make zero profit, some lose money. So I could lose all of it. So that was how, I planned for this past month and, what I had available to use and whatnot. And my learnings are that I can eventually replace my corporate income. I could. I definitely don't feel like I'm at a place where I am done learning. I made a lot of very stupid mistakes. And I made some really great mistakes in the sense that I learned about, you know, different entry points and using risk to reward to help me understand where my stop loss is going to be and all that kind of stuff. Secondly, I need to devote more time each day to review and prep. So, at the close of the session, trading session, think about what am I going to do the next day based on what happened today, and then do the same thing before the session opens the next morning, and making that part of my routine. And then trading is not investing. And I've had this conversation. I've mentioned this in some of the previous videos, but I've had this conversation with friends and um, you know, investing is you think you feel, great about a company and you are putting up your capital for a return over a long period of time. To me, that's what investing is, right? And in the capital markets, that's how they raise funds for their company. And so I have investments like, things that I bought, for example, Meta, 10 years ago. Like I'm not selling that, right? That's an investment. Well, I'm not going to say I'm not going to sell it, but the goal isn't to sell it. Whereas trading is, I'm looking at where, you know, different price points are on a particular instrument and what different indicators like moving averages are doing, news that's happening in the market, all these things, and determining is it likely to go up or down in price in a very short window of time. Sometimes that window could be in one day, right? Sometimes it could be 1 week or a few months, but it's not over years. I'm planning to hold um, that that particular instrument. Trading is not passive, so I would say, I don't. I know that what I was doing this month, I couldn't do if I needed to devote an equal amount of energy to my corporate career. And so for me, I had the benefit of not having that distraction this month. And so I was able to see what I could accomplish. But I'm sure there are others who could. I just don't trust like trying to trade on your telephone. You can invest on your telephone because you're buying in, you're gonna hold it for years. But if you need to get in and out, I don't know how you do that in between, Zoom meetings or, conference calls and in-person calls and, all that good stuff and actually trying to do thought work as well for your job. So it is not my recommendation that people try to trade that way, at least not based on what I know thus far. If I figure out a way, I certainly will make a video about it, right? If you can just do that in a way where it's not distracting you from what you're doing full time. I need to learn enough to live and to invest. So you saw how much I made, that would equal a $200,000 a year job, which is, a great salary, but it wouldn't, for me, it wouldn't be the amount that I would want to live off of and invest in and leave some wiggle room for, really poor performing months, So I kind of think about it as what if I only, made 80% of that amount and, you know, still need to service my lifestyle, put some aside for taxes, and then the remaining is what I would have to invest with. Um, yeah, I still am on a trajectory to get higher than what I accomplished this month. But I feel very optimistic that I can get there and fairly quickly. So the last is that I need to include non-trading days. So if you watched, I'm not sure if it was the last video or two videos ago where I talked about the day I lost $4,500 just by choosing to try to take a trade when it should have just been a non-trade day. I won't go into all those details again, but I definitely need to treat it like I would, if you when I'm working, and I'm going to go on vacation or, take time away from work, everybody knows it. You put on your out of office, and for the most part, I'm not actively working. I may check an email or something like that, but I'm not actively engaged in work, and that's how I need to treat trading. So, what's next? I can't tell you just yet. But I think this next month I will set new goals for myself. I will certainly share them with you and let you follow along. But I'm thinking more around income goals so that I can get to that live and invest part that I talked about just a couple bullet points ago. And then really the things here, be able to incorporate them, like, block off time on my calendar to do review and prep, and, um, really make sure that I'm taking my lessons learned and incorporating them in some actionable way. So if there are other things that you'd like to, have me do, feel free to make your suggestions or recommendations. I'll consider it. And if it's feasible for me to do, then perhaps I will. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this. I certainly did. It was a great lesson learned for me. I am sort of shocked that I made as much as I did. But I'm pleasantly shocked. And I'm looking forward, and I actually believe my future is bright. All right, have a great day, everyone.